Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this is going to be one of my favorite episodes of Rim Shots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk, because I have a gentleman here who I've been starting to deal with on a very regular basis, Mr. Dave Rundle, from Headhunters 6 Canada. And Dave, first off, thank you for doing this because you're still at the factory, correct?
Yes, I am. Yep. Working
Uh,
late.
well, I like to hear that because I'm going to tell you something. So, I told you when I emailed you, I have not used wood sticks for the better part of 15 years. Issues with carpal tunnel. Was using the Easton sticks. I was looking around. My friend Chris Potty said you got to try these sticks, and I reached out to you, and I've been using the sticks now for a little over a month, and absolutely incredible. And I'm going to bring some stuff out that you sent me, but just talk a little bit about your company and your background.
Okay, well, I've been in the music business since 1977. And one of my childhood buddies and I, we had a drum store in Toronto for about 9, 10 years. And from there, I got into the wholesale side of things. I worked for Jam Industries, which is a larger Canadian distribution company. And I worked for the Coast Music Division. So I did that for 25 years. And while I was doing that, I purchased a drumstick company. You probably remember Power Tip.
Absolutely. I use them
Okay,
like crazy.
all right. So I purchased the name Power Tip and all the equipment. And then that was in 1993. And about 1995, for various reasons, I changed the names to Headhunters and then developed it. And it was kind of always in the back burner. And then in 2015, after that crazy financial crisis from 2008, the music business was not rebounding 100%.
Mhm.
And so my job was amalgamated, my repping job, with a couple other guys. So I put Headhunters on the front burner and came out with all my wacky designs and started doing all the trade shows and started focusing more on it. And to this
Um,
day, it's been growing like crazy.
well, and I saw you had posted something, I think it was a week or so ago on your socials about all the distributors that you have in the United States, and I was
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
I was blown away by that,
yeah.
um, because little known fact by some people, I've been looking to do something different than the sticks that I was using for about 2 years, simply because I couldn't get a lot of support from the manufacturer because I'm really the only person in my area using them.
Yeah.
But they kind of had me. I mean, I'm wearing these gloves right now because I get the copper in for it. They help my wrist. I was kind of handcuffed because they helped me, and so there was some specific things I was looking for. And when Potty showed me, and I mean, I'll show you. Obviously, you know what you sent me. Oh, got to give a plug, by the way. The wonderful T-shirt that arrived.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice. Yeah.
Potty showed me right here, and it was the grip on the stick.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, how big of a deal can that be? And then I used it, and game changer, because a big thing for me with my wrist is the shock factor and absorbing shock, but as well being able to hold on to them because I sweat a lot, and so a big part of my wrist issues have been gripping too tight. Um,
Yep.
where'd you I guess get the idea for that design? Because really, I'm sitting there going, there's nothing out there really that has this design, and boom,
Yeah.
there it was.
Well, years ago, we started. This goes back to about '93. Um, we used to dip all our sticks in nitrocellulose lacquer,
Wow.
and that's bad stuff. And we kind of got shut down with that, the environment, and we went to a water base, and it was very slippery. And Terry Clark, one of our, he's a he's a famous jazz drummer, Canadian drummer. Um, he called me up and said, "Dave, I can't hang on to the sticks. What
Yeah.
am I going to do?" So basically, I started dipping them, and that the same dip that Zildjian and everybody uses. But what I find about that dip was the sticks last longer than the dip. So right where your fulcrum is, you're wearing out the grip.
Yeah.
And I just found it was like even with me, I was peeling it off and redipping sticks. So basically, I started using a shrink tube, like electrical shrink tubing,
Yeah.
and I stumbled on this stuff. It was in a store somewhere, discontinued, and then I started doing my homework and sourcing it, found where to buy it, and we just imported it. That's imported. So then we cut it off. We bought a cutting machine. We cut it, and it's time consuming to put it on. We glue it and we shrink it on, and that's where it comes from. Really, it's a great grip.
It's a game changer. I'm not going
Yeah,
to lie, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, and I'm not just saying that because I started working with you guys, but it is a game changer because as soon as I picked this up and I tried it, because I practice and sometimes record on a set of rolling drums, so that wasn't really a good reenactment. So I immediately went to the drum kit, and
yeah,
it was incredible. I mean, again, the biggest thing for me is the shock off the rims. I'm a rim shot
yeah,
player.
yeah.
Um, the other thing I notice about these sticks, and uh, I don't notice a lot about wood sometimes, is your quality control. And I'd love for you to talk about that because they're smooth, there's zero wobbles. This stick came to me, man, and it was just every single stick that you sent looked like absolute perfection. Um, and I'd like for you to talk about quality control a little bit because that also impressed the heck out of me.
Well, that's that maple's actually from Quebec. It's a vacuum dried hardwood maple, and I, after the sticks are turned, we roll all the sticks. And when you're making the stick, you put any cross grain that's going to be in the stick in the butt end of the stick. That's
Right.
what you're going for. So if there is, I mean, it's inevitable you're going to have some cross grain. So you're less likely to create a problem with the drumstick if that goes in the butt end of the stick. So in the front end, you should see nice straight grain.
As you do.
And yep. And then yeah. And then so then they're all rolled. And now I don't pitch match, partly because what I've seen, because I mentioned I was a rep for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I would go into a store and you would see guys, like, everything's supposed to be pitch matched by all these companies, right? And you would see guys taking all the sticks out of the sleeves, rolling them because they don't believe a word of it,
Yeah.
and then tapping them, doing whatever they're going to do, tap them on their head or on the table or whatever. And then they pick what they want, and everything goes back in and chucked in the stick bin again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the stores are. It's not necessarily that they're complicit in that, but they don't stop it. I mean, they're going to make the guy wants to buy sticks. They're not going to stop him from doing it. So the guy does it, and then someone else might come along and go, "These are supposed to be pitch match. They're not even close because they've been disassembled."
Right.
So, to me, picking a drumstick is part of your craft. You know what I mean? Like, you've been playing for a while, so you know what you want in a drumstick.
Yep.
So that's part of the learning curve. What I believe every drummer should go through. You go in and pick out a pair of sticks. And if the companies have taken that away for marketing purposes to say, oh, pitch match, weighted and everything else, this is, to me, this is what the responsibility of a drummer is. A good drummer should be able to do that.
I love that because on my social media group the other day there was it was more about guitar playing, but it was about the topic of technique. And somebody was saying when you're taught by certain teachers, this is the technique, and if you stray from it, it's like the piano teacher hitting your hands with the ruler. My whole thing has always been, especially with sticks, it's feel first. I love a feel. I like a weighty stick, and I like a straight stick. And this to me, I mean, again, when I say no wobble, I've tried so many wood sticks, and I won't name names, but everything from they just feel weird to a weird shock. They feel weird on the cymbal. It's all a feel thing, right, for me.
Oh yeah, totally.
But the other thing I find is they're slippery. Like too much lacquer, not enough. Like, it's just I've never found that sweet spot. So again, I can't overemphasize this thing. It's a game changer, man. And then I've yet to break a pair of these, and I've been using them a month. It's crazy. Now these are new ones because I'm that guy, Dave. I will not use something new until something old is broken. So,
Well,
right,
that's you brought up another point with all the whole marketing thing that everybody seems to be doing on drumsticks, pitch matching and pairing. Okay, so you got a pair of sticks that you paid these days in Canada, right? $20 a pair,
right,
and you break one stick. Do you think the guy's going to throw away the other stick? I
right.
don't think so. He's going to use it. He's going to take it out of his stick bag and whatever. He's going to use it with another stick. So this is the whole point of this, the idea of pitch matching and pairing and everything. I mean, I think it's a marketing ploy. I think a drummer can pick it out. And the other thing too is drum set players, you have cymbal, snare drum. So it's basically those are two different instruments.
Yep.
You know, hi-hat's a different instrument from a ride. So the fact that everything's pitched, so they're not pitched anyway. They're only pitched, a snare drum, like say a concert snare drum. I can see that being valid. You'd want absolutely perfect balance, pitch, everything else, right?
Well,
But
I
when
mean,
you're
you're right, and let's be honest. Like a lot, I guess it depends on what level you're playing at. If you're playing a bar, like you're not going to worry about that.
yeah,
Even I would say, like some of the stuff I do and what Potty does, is like sometimes you're giving sticks out to people. So to your point, if you give a stick out and you got a mismatch, are you going to be worth that concerned about it? I personally don't think you are.
no, and I'm going to say most of those aren't.
I would agree with that. I want to highlight a couple products here because I've had a couple of people that have talked to me about these products here, and the first one I want to talk to you about. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Well, crossovers.
I have a guy who has been buying these for a period of time, and he swears by them. He won't even use real sticks. This is what he
Yeah,
uses all the time.
they're great.
Absolutely loves them. They are, and I like the fact that you get the we'll call it the dowling for lack of a better term on the top, and then
Yep.
an actual stick kind of
Yeah.
piece, and it's a sturdy piece of equipment.
Yeah. So do you want to know what they're all about?
Please.
Okay. So um, from here to here, that's turned on a lathe. So that's a solid wood like a drumstick. And then this area where it's enlarged there, that's
Yeah.
solid wood. That's solid wood. We drill a hole down to there, and then we put whatever we're going to put in the end. So whether it's bamboo, polypropylene strands, we got different types of bamboo that we put in. This bamboo, um, we leave the outer skin on it. So you know how bamboo is green?
Yeah.
Okay, so the outer shell, basically, or the skin, is green, and then the meat part of it, the brown part, uh, we flip that all around so it's facing out, so it kind of looks like the natural drumstick. But that skin is where all the strength is coming from. So these things, like you mentioned, your friend's been using it for a couple of years. He's probably using the same pair. These things
I think he
last.
is.
Yeah, these things last like crazy. And the other really cool thing about them is if you're doing cross sticking or a rim shot, they're rim shot friendly. Because when you come down to do a rim shot, that solid wood bead's going to hit the drum, and then this is going to hit your rim over here, right? So
Absolutely.
you can do a rim shot with them. So if the band's starting to get louder, well, you can go with it. And the other part of it is that short span there, they rebound like crazy. So that little short band, it just provides incredible amount of rebound. So you've got the dynamic of the soft bundle concept, and when the band really lays into it, you got the solid bead. You can just go for it. So that's why they're a crossover between a bundled rod and the stick, and we put them in our hybrid bundled section. So
Well,
they're a lot of fun. A lot of
they are.
fun.
Well, and here's what I like in what you just broke out there is um you described what's involved in making them, and an unquestionable explanation as to quality, because I mean they're not put together haphazardly. They're more or less a
Yeah.
science, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, it's this design. It took a while to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
The important part was getting this part right, or the bulb area,
Yeah.
because that's where you're going to get your volume from when you want to lay into the bell of the cymbal. You're going to get an actual really good bell sound like you would with a drumstick. And the other thing that's neat about them, if you do cross sticking, you can get a pseudo. You're not going to get this type of a cross stick sound with the butt end of a drumstick,
Right.
but you're going to get something that's acceptable. So if you want to do a quick little bossa nova or something like that, you can cross stick with that. It's not going to
Very
be
cool.
that super rich sound, but it'll get you through the tune for sure.
It'll be there. And I will tell you this, a better sound than what I was currently using, because of the way they're made, you don't get a very bright rim shot often when you're cross sticking. The next one you sent me, which I love these two. I absolutely love these guys.
This is going to seem planned because I have them right here too.
Well, you know what? And it wasn't. Anybody knows me knows that I never plan anything. So talk about these, because these are not what you think they are, right? Like everybody goes, oh, well, look, I've used those before.
Yeah.
No, you have not.
Yeah. So this design came about because, well, I'm going to use another brand's name, Hot Rods.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody knows Hot Rods. When they came out in 1984. The story is that they didn't start selling till about 1989, and it was Dave Kroll. Yeah, he used them in Nirvana when they did the acoustic album.
Yep.
Okay, so people started saying, "Hey, what are you playing?" And he said, "Oh, these, I don't know what they're called. Whatever they're called, they're red, and they got dowels." And they started selling like crazy. And that was the only alternative. Up until that point, you had drumsticks, timpani mallets, brushes, and now bundled rods, hot rods. That was pretty much it for drummers in 1989. So the thing about the hot rods that I found is the bounce. You couldn't get a bounce. And the other thing was they break like crazy. Like yeah. Okay. So you're agreeing with me.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
I don't want to diss the product. It's can only be expected because it's a very skinny dowel. It's a birch dowel,
right.
And it's only 1/8 of an inch in diameter. So, and guys are hitting them beyond their natural dynamic range, because they might start off playing and they're perfect. Then the next thing you know, the volume goes up, and then they're outside of their natural dynamic range. And what's going to happen? They're going to break. Right. So to address that issue, I put a solid dowel to about where it expanded, and then on the end, there's a piece of foam in the inside. Huh. And then around the outside, we put either a birch dowel or a bamboo dowel. So this purple one is bamboo. So the idea behind this is it's the quietest bundled rod out there. So if guys have to be really quiet and they still need to bounce, you can play double stroke rolls with these. They last because of the foam. The foam is going to absorb some of the impact, and they're great. And we used to make these for Vic Firth.
Oh, nice.
So this was originally, it was a Stinger when I came out with them. So they were a Headhunter Stinger. And then I was doing a clinic with Steve Smith and at a local Toronto store. And I knew he was going to be playing with a tabla player and wouldn't be using sticks. So he was using some kind of a bundled rod. So when I picked him up from the hotel, he hopped in and I said, "Hey, Steve, check these out." Played him on the dash of the car, and he went, "Holy shit, these are awesome, Dave. I love them. I'm going to use them tonight." So then from there, it took us about 6 months this is when Vic was still alive. Yeah. It took about 6 months to convince Vic to add them. And then they went in the Vic Firth catalog. And then my real connection with Vic Firth was Vic. So when Vic sold the company, and then he still ran it, he was there as a figurehead. And then when Vic passed on, they discontinued their contract with me. They canceled it. And so I put it back in the Headhunters lineup as Stingers again. So they went from Stingers to Vickford, Palawan, back to Stingers. So that's
Nice.
the story behind these, and we've sold a lot of these. And
I,
it's a great alternative to a lot of other bundled rods. But like when we were talking about the crossover, this right here,
yeah, yeah,
on any of
absolutely.
these, on any of the sticks that have this banding here, guys, when they try to lay into the bell, they're going to get an okay bell sound, but generally it can be muddy. So the crossovers, if you need that bright thing, that's it. That's where it's at. If you need to
Um,
be quiet, these are fantastic.
I want to give a shout out too because one of the members of my group, his name is Matty Ryan. He's a country drummer here, and when I posted Headhunters, he went on about these.
Ah, yeah,
Um,
I think I saw that.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is all he plays, and
that's all he. Yeah.
he swears by them. So Matty, you got your shout out, and that'll be enough of you. Thank you. Anyway, so let's move on. This was probably of all the stuff, and I think you know where I'm going with this. My favorite. I took these out, and I'm like, what the heck? And I got the package you sent me, and I was
Okay.
doing a gig. The day that I picked it up, it was a Saturday. Oddly enough, that's when they were delivered. So I took these to the gig and I tried them.
Fat
And
bastards.
let me tell you something. Not only were they amazing, because it's like it's a brush like, we'll call it a brush like substance. My Mapex guy, who you may know, who represents a competitor, said
Oh
these
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah,
the.
yeah. I know. Yeah.
I won't name him because he might get in trouble.
Craig.
He said, "Yeah, Craig."
Yeah.
He said these are some of the best things, and I had another couple drummers said these are the best stinking things when you need them in a situation that you can get.
Yeah, the name on that, I'll tell you. A shout out to Chris Potty. Oh, actually, it wasn't Chris. It was another Chris. I'm sorry, it was a different Chris. It was
Yeah,
a Chris.
I knew you'd figured it out. Nobody shouts out Chris Potty, so don't even worry about that.
Okay, but that was an experiment. The idea behind that was an experiment. I had some leftover dowels, and then I bundled them up, and then to create the fan, I used O-rings, and then tightened it up together in a band and tried to create the fan. And then I was thinking about him. I showed him to this fellow Chris that I mentioned, and I said, "What do you think of these things?" And he goes, "Holy shit, these are awesome." And I said, "Really? You really like this?" And he said, "Oh yeah. I mean, these are fat bastards. I can't believe the backbeat you get with these things."
Yeah, yeah, man.
So I laughed and I said, "Okay, fat bastards." And so we used the tartan font on it. I don't know if you noticed that.
I
So
did
like
absolutely.
yeah, the Scottish thing with the fat bastard and Austin Powers.
And they've got a bit of weight to them, which I like, but they're not like
Oh yeah.
super heavy. Because I mean, when
No.
you play with an actual brush, I've never been I wouldn't call myself a jazz player by any stretch of the imagination, but when brushes were called, it's just there was only certain things you could do with them. These things
Yep.
here are just so cool because there's so many sound options. You can use the butt end on cymbals for different sorts of things that'll sound cool. These right here on the snare drum, I was just blown away when I played them.
Yeah. They're great. They sound fantastic.
They do.
Train beats. If you're
Oh,
country guys, train beats in Nashville, we sell a ton of those.
yeah.
A ton in Nashville.
Well,
And
I went into Ballroom Blitz when I did this, and everybody was like, "Oh, smokes!" They said, and they did. They sounded incredible.
and your cymbals sound good on them too.
Oh my
You
God,
get
yes,
it. You
sir.
get a tone cymbal. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fantastic. Yeah.
So we did a really quick um, product overview, and I mean, there's other things that you guys have, but the point of what I wanted to make there is the options. How many I guess lines of sticks do you have in the repertoire, Dave?
Uh, well, it all started out with the sticks with the groove, and
Yeah.
in fact, that used to be one of our slogan: the sticks stick with the groove. And then one of my buddies that used to work at Sabian, he did all their marketing, and he said, "Stick with the groove is really focuses on just that model with the ones with the grooves and the handles, the old power tip ones, right?"
Yep.
And he said, "But you got all this other stuff that you're developing, and it's so unique. And the type of guys that use all this stuff, they're really creative people. They're very creative, And so he wanted me to change the tagline, and we came up with the idea of fiercely creative. So that's the tagline for the company itself. And so all of the ideas that you mentioned that we've been talking about are in the creations are like the fat bastards, the stingers, the soft corn, the sporran, all these other models, right? But in terms of drumsticks, the stick with the groove, the maple one, um, there's the A series, the B series, the C series, and the L series. So that represents about 15 models. And then you got 5A, 5B, 2B, rock, in both maple and hickory. So you're probably up to about 25, 30 models. And then you can put grips on most of them. So that doubles it. And then we have about 65, 70 models of creations, from all the crossovers to jingle things to jingle springs to you name it. Lots of crazy stuff. A lot of brushes. A lot of unique brushes.
Well, and everybody can go to the website, and we'll give that at the end so that people can get there. Pardon me, check it out. But and a Canadian success story. I mean, you guys are up in the bustling metropolis of Burlington, correct?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Burlington well. I spent 7 years in Toronto. I lived at Greenwood and Danforth for 7 years.
Really?
And I had friends that lived
That's
in Burlington and Oakville and Milton, and I lived in Guelph for a couple of months. And yeah, so.
that's my old neighborhood too, believe it or not, when I lived in Toronto.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Broadview and Danforth, but just between Broadview and Pape.
I lived on Lamb Avenue, which if you come out to Greenwood
Okay.
subway
Yeah.
station, go right across. Well, the Linsmore
Yeah.
Tavern is right on the
Yeah.
corner is where it was. So,
Yeah.
But I regress. We're not going to talk about that. So one of the things that when I was talking to Chris, and I was joking that people won't shout out potty, but I will, because Chris, I call Chris my gear guru guy, because if there's something that I'm looking at, I don't consider myself a gear guy. I'll ask Chris what he thinks, and when I was telling him and asking about sticks, Headhunter was the first one that rolled off his tongue,
Huh.
and I reached out to you, and what I guess how much of your marketing plan involves your artists?
Um, it's important. Um, Marketing. I don't put marketing way up front,
Yeah,
because I'm just there's only one of me,
right.
and I don't have anybody doing my social media. If you see any, if you see anything on social media, it means I put it there.
Well,
And
but
so
you have
I
a
mean,
presence. You have a
yeah,
presence.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
And what I'll do is we have some signature series
yeah.
for artist sticks, Mark Kelso, Graham Lear, and Mike Malice. He's got a cool stick, different. And then there's just tons of other guys that we make for. Um, Glenn Milcham, Blue Rodeo.
Yeah.
We make an interesting bundled rod for him. Um, so these guys, my marketing thing is, if we treat everybody right, they put out a good word for us, like Chris did.
Absolutely. Well,
So I mean,
absolutely.
like word of mouth goes a long way. And if you're
Well,
treating guys well, and you're covering the bases for them and making sure they got their stuff,
here's what I'll
you
throw at
know,
you. Here's what I'll throw at you, young Dave, because when I responded and reached out to you guys were instantaneous getting back to me. Anything you want pushed out, you send it to me, and I will make sure it gets out to my channels, because I've got a huge network, but more importantly, I've got people in like I've interviewed people in significant bands. I've had a couple of them that are actually in the marketplace that are looking for new sticks and things like that.
oh great,
So
fantastic.
you would be the first you would be the first name that rolls off my tongue, no question. I guess last question, because you want to get home, you probably got to eat supper and stuff, and I don't think there's any football. There'd be some hockey on. Where can people find more about this wonderful product that I'm so glad Chris Potty turned me on to?
Website. So the website's Headhunters, Sticks, and Creations. So .com. Headhunters, Sticks, and Creations.com. And even if you put in Headhunters Drumsticks, it comes up. So that's the easiest way. Our telephone number's there, our email's there. We've got lots of Canadian dealers, lots of US dealers. I don't know how many people are going to see your podcast. I hope the whole world sees it.
A lot of people are going to see this.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So we have a distributor in Australia. We have a distributor in Sweden, Germany. We sell direct to some dealers in other countries where we don't have a distributor. Like United States, we sell to all the dealers direct. So the pricing in the States is pretty good.
I'm hoping to send some guys your way because a good friend of mine was actually looking there. He did a tour and he was with another company and he wasn't liking the service. And so there'll be guys like that I will definitely send your way, hopefully in a very short period of time. And they're all down stateside. So.
Oh, great. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Appreciate
Damo,
it.
I want to thank you for doing this, man. Like I say, it was a quick connection, and you were well above board in terms of service, in terms of all that good stuff. And I'm happy to be working with you guys and promote you any way I can. And if I get up there, I'm going to pay you a visit. I swear to God, man, I got to see this factory.
Well, it's lots of fun.
Yeah,
I'll give you the tour. All right.
Take care, my friend.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Peace.
Peace.